We promised you that we would tell you all about the special delivery of this beautiful little baby girl.
Good job. So stay tuned.
Oh.
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 Okay, so can you hear the screeching in the background? That is a branch on the archway or the fence somewhere, and it's quite breezy, so you'll probably hear the wind chimes and
the traffic
and lots of cars going past today. So,
but we're doing this.
We're doing this anyway because we promised you that we would tell you all about Zariella's special delivery, and we did try and record it once before, and we just ran out of time. So here we are again. We're going to tell you yes, all about Zariella's birth. Here comes a plane, so hang on. We'll just wait for the plane to go overhead. You know?
Waiting.
I don't think it's... Is it gone far enough? I think it's gone far enough that we can hear. Okay, so how many children do you have?
So Zari's my third. So I have 3 under 3.
That's beautiful, but a real handful.
I'm blessed.
Very blessed. So she made a very interesting entry into the world.
That she did.
Yes.
It was quick.
Well, you'd had a few contractions throughout the day.
Yeah, so I had, it was a Monday, and I'd been to work that morning, and then, yeah, I rang Mum up and I said, oh, I think I'm having contractions, because I'd been induced with my last 2. So I didn't know what it was like to go into labour on your own. And I said, oh, it's kind of crampy, and Mum said, yeah go get checked out.
Yep.
You know, no harm in getting checked out.
Yep.
So I came in, dropped the other kids off to Mum.
This is at night though. You'd sort of gone throughout the day. You'd had a few pains
on and off.
And yeah, it was reasonably late at night, wasn't it?
Yeah. So I think we got to Mum's at about
9:30.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
And then went straight up to the hospital after dropping the kids off. And they took me in and they said, oh, you're in labour, but you're not far enough along to stay. So
yeah,
then
it was very early.
Yeah. So then they sent me back to Mum's place, because they said don't leave town, because I live just outside of town.
So it was very early
Yeah.
labour, like you were only 1 to 2 at that point, but they didn't want you to go back out of town.
No.
If you could. And
yes, so to stay in town. So I got back to Mum's place. This was about midnight. Jamie, hubby, went off to bed.
Yeah, we made a couple of little beds up for the other 2 kiddos, and yeah, it was quiet in the house, and it was just you and me up. We sat at the table and chatted and laughed and breathed our way through a few contractions. I've had a lot of babies, so I'm used to being the one having the contractions. Yeah. But it's different when you're supporting somebody else who's going through labour.
So much fun.
It isn't. It's hard work. It really is. Having a baby is hard work.
Pain with a purpose.
Yes, yes. You don't mind, because you know the difficulty of getting through the contractions. You are getting closer and closer to having your baby in your arms, but it still hurts.
Yes,
it's not pleasant.
I do like an epidural.
So you had planned on going back to the hospital, and getting an epidural. That was the goal here.
Yes, I had an epidural with my first, but not with my second, because he came
pretty quick. Yeah. So that was the plan. So at 1 o'clock in the morning, I went and got some pen and paper, and with each contraction we started timing them and writing down the length of the contractions. And after a few, I remember saying to you, look, if you want your epidural, we will need to get you back to the hospital in plenty of time because you don't want to rock up at the hospital so close to having your baby that you're going to miss out. So because the contractions were so consistent,
yes.
I said, look, by about 1:30 we might wake your hubby up, we might send you back to the hospital. Look, in all honesty, I thought I'd be sending you back up to the hospital and they'd tell you were maybe 4 or 5 centimetres, and then you'd get your epidural and all would be well. So we got to 1:36 in the morning and you needed to go to the bathroom.
Yes.
And I said, okay, well, when you come back, we'll wake your hubby up and get you ready, and off you can go. So between walking from the dining room table to the bathroom and back, you had 4 contractions right on top of each other. And the last one was really big, like really intense contraction. When you got back to the table, you were leaning over the table with your arms on the table, and I was rubbing your back, and you had this big contraction, and I tucked my head down underneath yours and I went, do I need to phone for an ambulance?
Yeah.
And she said yes, and I was like, all right, okay, grab the phone. And I can remember, you know, going to dial, and for that split second I had that moment of...
She had brain fuzz.
I know, it was like, what am I doing here? And I'm like, who am I
Ring
phoning?
000, please.
I'm like, right, 000, right, okay. So I put in 000, and it's quite the process. If you've ever had to phone 000 before, it's quite a process. You actually have to give details, and you know, they double check everything. So we're sort of going through that meanwhile you're still contracting. So the lady on 000 asked me if I could see or feel any part of the baby, and I said no, because she's standing at the table and she's fully clothed, so we can't see. And at that point you had a really big contraction and you just went, my waters have gone. And I can remember sort of feeling your clothes and going, yep, the waters have definitely gone. And
she kept asking, like, can you see the baby?
And I'm like, well, no. So we had to strip you down. And I remember putting my arm under you as you're contracting and getting you down onto the floor. So this is in our dining room. And next thing you said you're pushing.
Yep.
And
2 pushes?
2 pushes. 2 pushes. You had 1 push and the head was out, and I can just remember seeing this beautiful little squished up face. And I didn't feel panicked. I didn't feel like, oh gosh, we've got to get this baby out quickly or anything like that. I thought, this is what happens. Again, you know, I've been through labour and delivery a lot, and sometimes there's a bit of a pause there and you've got to wait for the next contraction. So we just waited, and then you had another big contraction, and she literally just shot out.
They're really slippery.
They are slippery. They're very wet. and I caught this baby, and I didn't have words. I don't know, did we tell the lady on the phone that the baby was out even? I don't even remember any of that.
I think Dad took over the phone call with the ambulance lady, because he did come running out.
And he was really good too, because he came out because he could hear us. And I was trying to yell out
for Jamie,
for your husband, so
he was asleep.
Yes, he was asleep. So I was like, I'm trying to talk to the lady on the 000 call, I'm trying to look after you, and meanwhile I'm sort of like, Jamie, I don't want you to miss this, come on out, you know. And so he walked out a bit groggy looking, you know, he was a bit stunned. And my hubby Ray, he came out, and I said, just get me a towel. And so he raced off and grabbed a towel. And we just wrapped the baby up, and they were telling us, you know, don't tug on the cord or anything like that. And we said that's fine, we'll just sit and wait, sort of thing. They let us know that the ambulance was on its way. But then you had another contraction, and the placenta came out as well. And it was a matter of just waiting for the ambulance to arrive, and we had 3 paramedics turn up, and they came in, and it was really lovely because, you know, you were coping well. I think for the shock of the whole process.
So Mum was holding the baby Obviously Mum caught the baby. Mum handed the baby to Jamie, and I remember looking up and seeing my other two little kids who had woken up in all the commotion, and they came over and they had to meet
their baby. It's a baby. They kept talking and they were sort of like, you know,
it's a baby.
What's going on here? But I remember when I was sitting on the floor holding Zari, and I looked over at your dad, like at my husband Ray, and I think both of our mouths just like what just happened here? Like this was amazing, yeah. And surprisingly, most of our older kids didn't sort of wake up or come out. There was only two, I think, two that actually came out, or three.
Three, I think.
Yeah. And they came out, and they also helped by, you know, turning on outside lights and getting ready for the ambulance to arrive. So everybody sort of pitched in there. So when Zari was born, because it was so fast, she was quite purple.
Yeah,
very purple.
Like a little
almost a little scary purple in colour. The paramedic realised that, you know, it was a very fast delivery. She was actually posterior, so face around the wrong way from a normal delivery.
But they still put a little oxygen mask on her. Just to help with the bit of flow, because she wasn't really crying. She was she did have a big cry and then stopped. Once she was cuddled. Yeah.
Which is like nowadays too. She's still like that.
Yeah. And then they put us in the ambulance and took us up to the hospital. We were pulled out of the ambulance and I was whisked off one way and the baby was whisked off the other way, you know, to check her over, and then they realised it's actually just bruising because
she was just a fast delivery.
Quick. So yeah, and I mean she was born at, so from that last big contraction at 1:36, and she was born at 1:50 a.m. So that was fast.
That was quick. That was really quick. But she was, can you remember how much she weighed?
She was 7 pound 8.
She was 7 pound 8, born at 1:50 in the morning.
And she was 49 centimetres long. So she's quite a little dainty lady.
Yep. And her name is Zariella, and we just call her Zari. So it was never on my bucket list to deliver somebody else's baby. I'm normally, it probably always should have been on my bucket list, because it was a real honour to deliver my own granddaughter. And I am very, very proud of this lovely lady here. She did an amazing job. She laboured so well, and you stayed calm through it all, and you have given us some beautiful, beautiful grandchildren. So we're very, very happy.
And I'm, I suppose, really lucky that I have a mum who's got so much experience giving birth that she could stay calm. Stay calm.
We got there. We did what we had to do.
Yeah. It was a good experience.
With great thanks to everyone at the hospital and the paramedics that came, the lady on the triple O call.
Yeah.
That was amazing. And our husbands, our family as well, everyone just sort of jumped in and did what they had to do.
It was an amazing experience.
It really was.
Not that I want to do it again.
Not like that. I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm here if you need me. I've definitely learned a new skill. I'll add that to my resume. So I hope you have enjoyed listening to this very special delivery story and enjoyed seeing some of the photos. But yeah, so well done.
Thank you.
And we will...
Well done.
Thank you. And thanks for watching. God bless.
See you later.